Hello, welcome to Medicine for the Soul Yoga. My name is Kat and this is part 27 of our Journey to Crow series. So we are building on what we practiced last week, a slightly different technique of coming into crow pose and then transitioning to tripod headstand. This time experimenting with the reverse as well, so from tripod headstand back to crow. We're just trying it out today, so no worries or no pressure, but it'll be a fun class and I hope you enjoy it. So we're going to start seated today with the legs crossed, and we'll start with a nice and thorough warm-up before we begin. So we'll place the palms facing up on the lap. Lean backwards very slightly if you notice yourself slightly tipping forward, just to make sure the shoulders are over the hips. You can close down the eyes, draw down the chin. We want the forehead to be over the chin. Relax the shoulders and just feel the shoulder blades melting down the back. And begin to breathe deeply through the nose. We're going to place the right hand, on the area below the belly button, and then the left hand on the chest. And we're just going to observe the breath. So just for a little while, we're not going to change or manipulate anything. We're just becoming the observer of our bodies in this moment with complete acceptance. Maybe noticing where there's any tension in the body. Maybe noticing the quality of the breath. Noticing where the breath is landing in the body as well. Becoming the observer of our inner world as we remove distractions by closing our eyes and really going inward. And then we're going to start to encourage the breath to land into the right hand. So we really want to engage this deep belly breathing to help really oxygenate the body, oxygenate our muscles, ready for this short but quite intense movement that we're going to put it through. And also to help settle the mind on the present moment and enter the right mindset for this class. You can perhaps introduce an affirmation here. I am strong, I am capable, I am working forwards. Whatever comes to you, you could use that if it feels right. And one more big inhale, right into the right hand. And a big exhale. Let it all go and place both hands on top of the knees with the palms facing down and grip over the kneecaps. We'll draw the chin right down to the chest. And we'll just make slight little movements with the forehead, feeling that stretch traveling across the top of the neck. Really important to warm up the neck fully and just check in with how the neck is today before we practice any sort of tripod headstand. Keep the breath the same as you make the movement slightly larger and larger. Good, and then we'll pause in the center and lift up the chin, and we're going to make little circles with the body. So we're going to start to move around in a clockwise direction, starting quite slow to begin with, and then we can make the circles slightly larger and larger. You can use the hands on the knees to help as you lean back, perhaps leaning back as you move forward, bringing the chest right down. So we're really opening up the upper body, moving with the breath. Exhale back, inhale forward. Good. Exhale back, draw the chin in. Inhale forward. Exhale back, inhale forward. Start to wind the circle in. Really good. and come to stillness. And then we'll just go right round the other way. If it feels right, you can close the eyes. Inhale forward. Exhale as we come back, gradually making the circle larger and larger. Good. And then again, winding that circle slowly back in. Really warming up the spine. Slowly back into the center. Really good. Inhale, we're going to reach the arms up. Look up to the hands, and exhale, we'll bring our hands forward and gently bring the chest down. We can bring the fingers out wide and slowly rock side to side, letting the head and the neck hang really loose. Big deep breath through the nose. Good. And we'll stay down here with the chest reaching down towards the legs. We're going to interlace the hands behind the back. Straighten the arms and let the hands float over the head. If you can, maybe bring the forehead down and you feel this lovely release. Obviously, just come to where you can. Wherever you are along this journey, you still feel this lovely stretch, and we really want to reach the hands up. So we're opening the shoulders, preparing ourselves, and perhaps moving side to side here feels good. Big deep breath through the nose. Good, and then we'll come all the way back up. We'll bring the hands around to the front and interlace them again, and then we'll just warm up the wrists slightly in whatever way feels good for you. And again, just checking in with the wrists here. How do they feel today? Are there any tight spots? Work into them. Listen to your body. Good. Pushing the hands away, both directions. Good. And then shaking them out. We'll just work up the side body before we begin a bit more movement. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale, right hand down, bending over to the right. Left knee draws down, look under the left arm. And inhale, sweep up with both hands, look up. And then exhale, left hand down, drawing over to the left, look underneath the right arm. Keep the right knee drawing down. And then inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, we'll twist to the right. Keep the spine straight. Draw the shoulders down the back. Look behind you. Inhale, reach up. Really good. And then exhale to the left. Right hand on left knee. Twisting around to the side. Good. And then inhale, reach up. Perfect. We'll bring our hands down and come to our tabletop. We'll take a few cat-cows here. You can close the eyes. Inhale, arching the back. Exhale, rounding. Flow with the breath. Roll the shoulders. Lift the chin. Good. Inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding. Keeping a rounded back this time. We'll just roll the neck. Let the neck move side to side. Good. We're going to tuck the toes, keep the shoulders over the wrists with the fingers really spread, and we're going to hover the knees off the mat and squeeze in the core. So squeezing the belly button into the spine and breathe deeply through the nose. Option to stay here as we begin to activate the core, or option to tap with me, right knee to right elbow and back, left knee and back. We want to keep everything else the same. Imagine you've got a glass on your back. Fingers are spread. Can you see the whites of your fingertips maybe? Good. One more on each side. And then bring the knees down. We'll bring the forehead down to the mat. We'll roll our weight onto our forehead. Lift the hands behind the back again and open the shoulders. Big deep breaths here through the nose. Let those hands release. Good. And then place the hands back up. Lift the forehead and we'll come to our downward facing dog. And pedal out the heels. Big deep breaths through the nose, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. Good. Finding stillness in our downward facing dog. We'll just do a few little more core exercises. So we're going to come into planking as we do. Bring the right knee and tap it to the right elbow. Tap, back to downward dog. Good. Inhale forward, left knee. Shoulders over wrists. Exhale back to downward dog. Inhale forward, picking up the speed a bit. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. One more time each side. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. This time inhale forward into normal high plank. We're going to take a chaturanga. Bring the knees down if you need to. Otherwise, full chaturanga. Elbows hug in. Inhale into our upward facing dog or cobra. Take a moment here, maybe drop the knees and just open out the shoulders, our first back bend. And then exhale back to downward facing dog, really good. Inhale, we're going to take another vinyasa, come forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale into our upward facing dog. And exhale back to our downward facing dog. Good. Bringing the knees down. Taking a moment in child's pose, rest the forehead on the mat. The arms can come either side, palms facing up, and just feel the shoulders release, melting away either side of the body. Perhaps some movement here feels good. Just take a moment to bring yourself back to the breath. And then place both hands under the shoulders, and we'll sit back up. Roll the shoulders here. Perfect. So building on what we did last time, we are going to enter tripod headstand with the legs on the arms in a slightly different way, which could be a bit more accessible for you. And it's just a different way to play around with. Some ways suit other people better than others. So it's good to give options and you can see which way works best for you. So we're going to give that a go now. And then we're going to explore the potential of lifting the head up from tripod headstand to crow, so reversing that transition. Instead of crow to tripod headstand, we are going to start playing around with tripod headstand into crow. So we'll just see how it goes. We'll shake out the wrists, and I can show you first of all how we're going to do this transition. So just watch me for a moment. Set up to the similar way as crow, so the hands are either side of the body. Again, it's that low crow that I spoke about last week. If the knees are too high up here, how we practiced before in normal crow, you're quite far away from the ground. So we want to keep the hips low, and instead we're hugging the inside of the knees into the arms. So we're coming into a little low crow. The elbows could be slightly further apart, hands may be slightly further apart as well, just to feel a little bit lower to the ground. Again, we can fold the mat to give ourselves a bit of extra padding. And we're going to very gently come forward, but instead of keeping the chest lifting and up like in normal crow, we're just going to gently transition straight into bringing the head down. So we're going to squeeze the elbows in and bring the head down. Maybe the toes stay on the ground as the head comes down. Maybe they lift up slightly. So you kind of just have to trust yourself as you come down. And that's why it's important to keep the hips low so that we're quite low to the ground. So we really squeeze the back of the arms in. Look forward, have padding there, and we can come up. So we can keep the toes on the ground, or we can rest the backs of the legs on the backs of the arms. And this is actually quite a comfortable place to be. Option to bring the toes together. Option to stay here, completely depending where you are, or option to tuck the legs up into tripod headstand. That requires quite a lot of work on the core. And we're going to bring the legs back down if you brought them up. So we're all going to be here in our kind of crow with the head down. And we're going to experiment with lifting the head up. Now, it's quite a difficult one, so just give it a go and see what happens. We're going to lean back, push the hips down slightly, and bring the weight into the hands and lift the head. So don't worry if that's your first time practicing and that seems far away. Just give it a go, and practice makes perfect. Super, super important here when you do this to have the fingers really, really spread, because a lot of work is going into the wrist. So it's easy to damage the wrist if you're not really engaging the fingers and bringing that weight through the hands. If you have someone that could spot you as you try this, they can support you so that you don't just come back, because it is a real balancing act to not come too far back and lift your head up at the same time. So give that another go if you would like. If you're not quite there yet, then just come into that transition where we very gently come into that tripod headstand. You can either stay here or you can come into full tripod headstand, remembering that about 70% of the weight wants to be coming into the hands, so we're protecting the neck. And if you want to try the transition again, it's easier if you kind of tuck the legs up and the hips down. So you want the hips to be towards the heels, slowly lean back and lift up the head. And then we can gently come down. It's an advanced transition, so don't worry if that's your first time practicing it. It's probably going to take a little while of building that muscle memory as well, of finding that balance point. So really well done. We're going to come into tabletop, reach the hands forward, come into puppy pose, melt the chest down, forehead can come onto the mat as well. Take a few deep breaths here and let the breath travel right into the tummy. We're releasing the back of the shoulders. And then we'll gently come back up, come back to our tabletop. We're going to come into a little plank exercise. To do these transitions, we really need core strength, especially the one where we come from tripod, low tripod headstand with the head down to proper tripod headstand. To get those legs up from the arms takes the core strength. So we're going to come into plank. If your wrists are feeling a little bit tired and maybe a little bit twingy, we can come onto forearm plank or you can stay on the hands. It's completely up to you. So we're going to stay here for a minute. I'll tell you when half a minute has happened so that you know where you're at. But we're going to try and hold for a minute if we can. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1, coming into our plank. And remembering to push out the hands, almost doming the backs of the shoulders. Imagine like someone wants to sit on your back and you're trying to sort of push up away from them. We want the shoulders over the wrists and we're squeezing in the core and we're breathing deeply through the nose. Big deep breaths through the nose, lifting the kneecaps. Focus on the breath. We're so nearly there. Forgot to say when 30 seconds was actually, but hopefully you're still with me. 5 more seconds. And release. Really good. We'll bring our knees out wide, come into wide leg child's pose. If you feel that you've got a bit more in you, absolutely come into plank again. Maybe holding for longer. And just knowing that a combination of actually practicing the transitions and building confidence and muscle memory, as well as building strength through drills, is the way you're going to get there. So it's a bit of both. Focus on the breath. And then coming all the way up to tabletop, really good. Bring the knees in. We're going to inhale, reach the right arm up, open the shoulders, and exhale, thread the needle. Big deep breath through the nose. Drawing the left shoulder back so it's over the right. Inhale, reach that right hand up. And then exhale, bring it down. Inhale, reach your left hand up. Exhale, thread the needle. Pushing that right shoulder back over the left. Big deep breath through the nose. Good. And then inhale, reaching the left hand up. And then exhale, reaching it down. Really good. Coming into downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels. Maybe letting the hips sway side to side. Good. And then bring the knees down. So we're going to have one more play around in our crow pose. If you feel like you've had enough today and your wrists are a little bit sore especially, we don't want to make any damage or cause any injuries, so you can just rest in child's pose or do any other pose that you feel that you need. Otherwise, we're going to give it another little go. Keeping the hips low to the ground, squeezing you almost want to bring the elbows out slightly so that you can tuck the legs onto it and then squeeze them in. So we're really hugging ourselves together, but the elbows a little bit further out to let that proper shelf happen on the knees. So almost at a bit of a diagonal. And then we very gently come forward. We can keep the toes on the mat, or we can bring them up and come fully onto the head. Focus on the breath. Hips are lifting. Maybe we're coming into full tripod headstand. Maybe we can straighten the legs, up to you. Focus on the breath. We can all bring the legs back onto the arms. Bring the hips down, and we can really take our time. If the head doesn't come off, don't worry. Just getting here is a good place to start. And coming back to our crow, releasing back down. Unroll the mat, really good. We're going to come straight to standing, feet hip width apart. Inhale, reach forward, find length in the spine, maybe wiggle the hips. Big inhale, and exhale, bend the legs slightly, forward fold, hands on either elbow, release the head and the neck, and gently sway side to side. Feeling any tension in the upper back just melting away. Any self-limiting beliefs or doubts. Imagine a trap door at the top of the head. Open it, let them all go. Release the hands back down. Heel toe the feet out, toes facing outwards. Coming into our low yogi squat. Draw the palms together. Take a few deep breaths here as we draw the shoulders down the back. Good, and then we'll bring the hands behind us, sit back the hips. Coming into butterfly, feet together, gently releasing down with the chest, release the head and the neck. Gently come up, knees drawing together. We'll take a few rock and rolls to make sure you're forward enough on the mat. Really just releasing out the back. Let the feet flick back over the head if that feels right. And then we'll gently come all the way onto the back and coming straight into happy baby, flexing the toes, gently rocking side to side. Good, and then drawing the soles of the feet together, we can push the knees apart with the elbows. Big deep breaths through the nose. And then release the feet on the mat. We'll wrap the right leg over the left and let both legs fall to the left. Look over the right shoulder. Big inhale here. And big exhale, release any tension in the body. Let it all go. Using the left elbow to draw ourselves back to center. We can cross the left leg over the right leg. Big inhale. And then exhale, legs fall to the right and we'll look over the left shoulder. Big deep breath through the nose. Feel any tension melting away from the body. And then gently back to the center. Good. We'll lengthen our legs out long and come into our Shavasana, our resting pose. We can maybe roll around the ankles, roll around the wrists. Any final movements that you feel you need. Perhaps a little massage on the back of the neck feels good. It can even feel nice to hold and cradle the head with the hands, just a few inches off the mat. And then as you gently draw the chin in, we can maybe run the hands down the length of the back of the neck, lengthening out the neck, and then very gently placing the neck back down. We feel a real lengthening effect of the neck. Palms either side of the body, melting the shoulders and the face. And we come into stillness. We feel the body so heavy, so supported by the ground. The breath oxygenating our body, our muscles that have worked so hard today. And we give thanks to ourselves for practicing, and to our bodies for allowing us to practice and improve each time. And then just lying in this place of stillness and gratitude for as long as feels right for you today. Thank you very much for joining me.